A lot of you have been in touch recently and asked me how best to get a job in football. So this is the topic of today's video. From my perspective, it's only fair for me to talk about the way that I did it, but that's not the only way that's possible. So I will discuss other routes into the industry. And that's the advantage that we have at Football Finance Professionals. We not only teach you about football finance, but we can also advise on our own experiences and the experiences of the people that we've met along the way to get into football, and how they've leveraged their networks, their experience, their knowledge, and how they've been able to crack that interview process. Because ultimately, what you need to do first is get yourself recognised on a CV, a digital or hard copy piece of paper that someone is going to read, and is likely to be reading hundreds, if not thousands, of applications for what could be a very popular job, depending on the level, depending on the club, depending on the country. So if you have ambitions to work in football finance, stay tuned as I discuss my experience of how I forged a career in football. There are many routes into the industry, and you can start at any level. You could start at entry-level roles, or even try to get into the industry as a senior executive or director, or it could be anywhere in between. Depending on who you talk to, they're going to have their own opinions. But is it all about networking? Not necessarily. And if it was, it would be almost impossible to get into the industry, because everybody in the industry doesn't necessarily want to just offer people their time. And it's the same in any industry. Trying to strike up a relationship out of nowhere, networking, is difficult for most people at the best of times. So you have to be able to build a relationship with people over time. I didn't know anybody in the industry before I stepped into it. The first interview that I had was with the first person that I'd met from the football industry. What I had was a plan that was put in place probably 5 years earlier to be able to get to that interview. So my first tip would be to be realistic and be patient. It's not going to happen overnight unless you're extremely lucky. We're here to try to help you to accelerate that process. We can help your CV stand out. With the professional certificate in football finance, that's exactly what we can do. An education from the most exclusive and established sports university in the world. That's the sort of thing that will help you stand out without speaking to an individual. Coupled with the fact that if you do our program, you will learn the ins and outs of football finance from a practical perspective. In conjunction with Loughborough University, I have designed the course and delivered it to give you the best educational experience in the world of football finance. We can leverage what we've learnt along the way, both in and out of the industry. I had 10 years of experience in international finance before I even joined the industry, and then the best part of 6 years working at the top of football finance in the most challenging of environments at City Football Group between 2015 and 2020. And I can tell you now that that was a challenging experience, but one that allowed me to learn about the ins and outs of the industry. So now I can offer to you something that I was never offered, either virtually, in person, online, or through a course. I can offer you my experience and my knowledge. So back to how you can get into the industry. It might be easiest for you to go for one of these entry-level roles. What might that look like? If you're coming out of university, or even if you've not gone to university, you might be looking for something that allows you to get into a finance team in a football club. That could be a role such as a finance assistant role, an entry-level role that allows you to get your foot in the door, processing invoices, processing expenses, improving the processes that interact with the finance team, making an impression, and then progressing from there. You do not have to be qualified as an accountant, nor do you need a degree in finance and accounting to get one of these roles. It would be preferable if you had experience in a finance processing role to begin with. But the question comes back to, how do you get yourself noticed against your competitors? It's all about who's applying for that role at the time. So if you can make your CV stand out, that's the first challenge, because once you get your foot in the door for the interview, it's all up to you. It's all about your knowledge and about your ability to build a relationship almost instantaneously with the person sitting at the other side of the desk. Not an easy task, but at least you've progressed beyond an application. If you're going for a more senior role, there will be an expectation that you have more knowledge, more qualifications, more experience, and often in football, it's a desire that you've had experience in football, which sometimes is quite restrictive. But in senior finance roles comes responsibility. And depending on the organisation, there will be a gradual ladder of experience from that entry-level role all the way through to the senior executive or director. So pitching yourself at the right level, it could be a management accountant role, a role with some sort of supervisory responsibilities that heads a team, or it could be a specialist role, such as a tax role, for example, or even the one such as the one that I got at City Football Group, responsible for the IFRS conversion, a specialist accounting role. These types of roles are going to be few and far between, but with the potential changes on the horizon with the independent regulator, football is going to need to level up when it comes to governance. And so if you want to position yourself in such a way that you have experience to complement the football industry, you have an opportunity to do so, in my opinion. You just need to be able to figure out a route of how to gain that experience and pitch yourself at the right level when those opportunities arise. That could be in 1, 2, 3, 4 years' time. That's exactly what I did. But behind that, I had experience at a Big 4 firm. I trained in audit, having completed my degree in sports science and maths. I wasn't an accountant, or I wasn't planning to be an accountant when I went to university. I made the decision to become an accountant as I was leaving university. And in my opinion, it's the best decision that I ever made. It allowed me to pursue a career in an industry which was recession-proof and pandemic-proof. Not that I was necessarily thinking about that at the time. Accountants can now work from anywhere. And if you have ambitions to work in finance in the football industry, but you never quite get to that football finance role, you're still working in finance. And that is still going to be a robust career for you to be able to pursue, and one that will come with a whole host of unique challenges. If you're on the advisory side, in a Big 4 environment, a top 10 environment, or even a small firm, your clients are going to need you. They're going to need your expertise and experience in order to be able to help them solve their problems. Those clients could be football clubs, and that's one way of potentially forging a relationship and a network to be able to get into the football industry. Another way is through potential partners or sponsors of the football industry. That pool or population of companies is continually expanding. Everyone wants to be involved in sport, and in particular in football. So if you can navigate to a partner's company and then potentially move over by building a relationship that way, or getting yourself known at a football club in that capacity, that may increase your chances. I went down a Big 4 audit and then advisory route, building a skill set that I knew the football industry would need. And that route works for me, and it's something that I wouldn't have changed. But it's not for everybody and can be quite competitive in its own right. So if you have any questions about how to get into the football industry, where you're up to in your career, what should you do next, why not drop us a note at info@footballfinancepro.com. Leave a comment below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you liked the video, hit like and subscribe for more football finance related content. My name's Neil Wood and I'm a football finance professional. Thanks for watching.